All right, I got 6:31. We are good to go.
All right, so call the order the public hearings and the plan commission meeting on September 24th, 2025. Roll call, please.
President Gerke,
Here.
trustee Baum,
Here.
trustee Moonen is present on Zoom. Commissioner
Present.
Alhoff,
Here.
Commissioner Eberly,
Here.
Commissioner Howard,
Here.
Commissioner McCormick,
Here.
Commissioner Lesser,
Here.
Attorney Larson,
Here.
Planner Sumwalt,
Here.
Engineer Lysis is present in the audience, Administrator Green.
Here.
And Clerk Capazzo.
Right. Item number 2 is the public hearings. So notice was given that a joint public hearing will be held between the Lisbon Village Board and the Plan Commission here on Wednesday, September 27th, 2025, starting at 6:30. To solicit public comments on the following items. The first joint public hearing, number 1 is to consider the proposed amendments to various sections of the Village of Lisbon zoning code. We have a set process that we'll be going through for these public hearings, as I've said in the past. But I think here we can start with Oren and your comments.
Thank you. So in early 2025, we went through the process of a zoning code update, which ended up getting adopted. And in that process, we looked at conditional uses and what districts those uses would be allowed in the village. We added several new uses to the list of conditional uses, which are in section 4 of the zoning code. And 2 of those included landscape contractor business and lawn and garden businesses. And what we ended up doing was allowing that use as a conditional use in one of our business districts, but we intended to also include the A5 and A10 districts, which we inadvertently missed when actually going into the districts and adding the new uses for our conditional use list. So what we're proposing now is to go back and fix that error and add the business, landscaping contractor business and lawn and garden business uses as a CU to the A5 and A10 districts. By comparison, those districts do allow currently a contractor yard type use as a conditional use. And we don't feel that this is any more intense or different really than those types of uses. So again, this was something that we had intended to do. It got missed. It was an oversight on staff's part, and we'd like to go back and correct that now. So that's the background on this item.
Was it staff's intention as well as the commission at the time's intent? Okay.
Correct.
I
That
believe
was the
so,
reason
yes.
that those were created. And in creating the specific conditions for those 2 uses, they were intended to be in agricultural districts as well, if you read the specific conditions that are actually in section 4 conditional use.
So Brian, Joe, Sherry, Sean, you're in agreement with everything that was stated?
I don't remember about those being about lawn and garden business being included in A10 and A5. Would that include retail?
No,
Can we specify no retail?
in the
In the-
specific
In the
uses,
in the A10 and A5 in the conditional use list, where it says lawn and garden business, can you specify no retail?
Oren, can you go over what the actual specific uses are for that?
Yeah.
Lawn, I mean, I should look at that a little closer, but if it's lawn and garden without retail, does that get to be just farming?
I'm thinking I look at lawn and garden business as a nursery or a lawn garden center where it would have a retail store type.
Sure,
That
okay.
would not be appropriate in A10 or A5.
But those are allowed accessory uses in those districts already.
They used to not be. At least used to not be retail.
But if it's an accessory use for something that's grown on the property, it is, because it's directly related to that agricultural use.
Right, I'm talking about someone.
Like a
putting
retail
in-
store, no,
bringing-
that would not be allowed.
Pardon?
Like a retail type
That's what I'm
store,
talking
that would
about.
not be allowed.
Right.
Bear with me a moment. I look this up.
The differentiating factor being that a retail store where the goods are not
Produced on
produced,
site.
yeah, produced on site would not be allowed, but if they're produced on site, they would be allowed.
Farm stand would
Correct.
be,
Yep.
what I would consider a lawn and garden. business.
sure,
I'm
okay.
thinking more, a Steins or a.
Here's one of the specific conditions that was adopted for, as an example, the lawn and garden business use. The lawn and garden business is prohibited from manufacturing or assembling products. The sale of products on the premises which are not produced on the subject property is prohibited unless expressly permitted or permitted subject to specific conditions in the conditional use permit. And then we have an IE in parentheses, mulch, fertilizer, decorative stone, et cetera.
Would be or would not be allowed?
You can allow it by specific conditions in the
Okay.
conditional use permit.
Cause I was thinking if you got a small lawn and garden center and you're selling a bag of topsoil, then that's not produced on site, so. I just want, it's covered though from what you just said.
So you can allow things that aren't produced on site, subject to specific conditions and
Yeah,
a
they get
review
asked for.
on a case by case basis, essentially.
Not permitted by right, but it's permitted as under conditional use permit.
On a case by case.
Yeah,
basis,
that's one of
yes.
that's one of the specific standards for this type of conditional use permit.
All right, good question. Anything else then? I mean, you're the four with history. That's why I started with you.
That's why
Well,
I know there have been issues
One
way
of-
down the road with.
One of the other conditions that is pertinent, I think, to our conversation is that all buildings used in the conduct of the business shall be located at least 100 feet from the lot line of an adjoining lot in a residential district, or at least 50 feet from the lot line of an adjoining lot in another district. So that's another baked in protection for adjacent residential that, if you're going to have a retail component as part of that, it would have to meet that 100-foot setback for that portion of the business.
And I'm thinking more in lines also of traffic.
Sure. I think one of our other conditions in regard to that, got a minimum lot area of at least an acre for this type of use. And no such use shall be allowed on any parcel except as may front directly upon and have access to an arterial or major collector street. So you couldn't do this in the middle of a subdivision. Even if you had the acreage, you wouldn't, if you don't meet this specific requirement. And that also pertains to subdivisions that have access restrictions along the arterial streets. So, if you think back to one of our recently approved subdivisions, like October Fields, there's a main boulevard entrance off of Mary Hill, the arterial street, but those homes that back onto Mary Hill have restricted access. They can't access the arterial. So that would apply to this type of use in those instances.
This is probably a minor nitpicky, but maybe to save us in the future.
Can you speak up a little bit, Sean?
Oh,
So
yes,
that we can-
okay. On the second, on the page 169, 13 Echo, where it says cheese factories, all well and good. The issue that down, I'm just saying down the road, cheese involves, as a byproduct whey or.
That's already in the code. That's not a change that's being proposed.
Okay, great. I just want to make sure that we.
Just the
don't
red
have-
line stuff would be what's new.
Do we have to update the chapter to chapter 11 and not chapter 18?
Yes, this would be for chapter 11 of the
You can speak.
uncodified code. We had a codification of the zoning code occur through a contracted entity around the same time as the adoption of our zoning code. And they haven't been able to include our updated zoning code. So it's it's still chapter 11 right now until such time as they can codify it into what they have on the website right now, which is they changed zoning to 18. So eventually all this will get added into the version that's online and updated, but we're still waiting for that to take place. So yes, staff would update this to be 11 of the uncodified code.
Okay, because on the website, there is no 11 anymore, it's 18.
Yep, so the codifiers, there's a section, if you go to the website where there's the Lisbon Code of Ordinances, it says click here to view Lisbon's entire village code online. And when you do that, the chapters appear on the left-hand side, but then to the right, there's a list of adopted ordinances not yet codified. And one of those would be ordinance number 2025-02, which is the ordinance to repeal and recreate chapter 11 entitled zoning ordinance of the Village of Lisbon Municipal Code. So that document is the most up-to-date version of our code. It just hasn't been put into the new format, which has zoning at 18. So we're still waiting for the codifier to do that. And we're waiting very patiently.
More questions or comments from plan commission members? Does Mark have anything at home?
No, I don't have
Seeing-
anything.
All right. Then is there anything from the public? If there is, I'm gonna run through a kind of a script. If there's not, I'll wait until we get to the next public hearing. And we're only looking at this first public hearing for comments at this point. All right.
If anyone on Zoom has comments for this public hearing, please use the raise hand function.
At the beginning.
No hands raised on Zoom.
At the beginning when when we're talking amongst, so we're still working through some things here. So when we start, I mean, the notice, that's not technically not open until we open it for the public to speak.
You open it for the public.
All right. So I hereby open the public hearing for anyone to make comments. I give another chance. Is there anyone who has any questions or comments? All right, so. All right, hearing none, we will close the public hearing.
44.
Right. Then we move on to joint public hearing number 2. Lisa, do you want to read this into the?
Sure. Joint public hearing number 2 is a request by applicant James Heinrichs, Hometown Storage Solutions LLC, on behalf of property owner Jim Wesp Family Trust, to rezone approximately 3 acres in the northeastern portion of a vacant 15.65 acre parcel from the R1 Suburban Single Family Residential Zoning District to the B3 General Business District. The subject property is located along County Road Q and identified as tax key LSBT 0161999010. No changes are proposed to the C1 Conservancy zoned area on this parcel.
All right, so in a second here, we'll hear from Oren. He'll give his presentation. This will be followed by the petitioner addressing the commission if they so desire. Next, the Plan Commission and Village Board members will have the opportunity to ask questions for clarification of the village planner, the applicant and/or staff. Then we'll open the hearing for comments for witness testimony from those that wish to speak tonight. And all speakers, we usually will have speaker slips to fill out, but we'll just take your information verbally tonight. And then if there are people who wish to speak, actually, so we don't have the rules laid out, but I will address those as we get there. So, Oren, you would like to start with your presentation, please?
Sure. So we've got a petition to rezone approximately 3 acres. This is located just west of the Quick Trip on County Road or County Highway Q, just west of State Road 164. This was recently before the Plan Commission for a concept plan on July 23rd of this year. Mr. Heinrichs at that concept plan proposed to have a development that would consist of both a mini warehouse storage type facility and a contractor storage facility. And this would be something that would be developed in phases as it was proposed. The petitioner is looking to buy some of the land from the family trust that currently owns the parcel. The parcel is up on the screen here. I have it highlighted with the blue boundary. So what you have in your packets includes a legal description of the area to be rezoned. And essentially, it's the far northeast corner of this parcel, some of which is currently already zoned B2, and some of which is currently zoned R1. And the proposal is to rezone these areas, the area that's again identified in that legal description, to B3 General Business District. And the specific reason that district is being requested is that district allows the mini warehouse type use. So the petitioner in his application, Mr. Heinrichs, has indicated that he's proposing this kind of as a standalone item as opposed to including the full development plans as a means to allow him to not have to incur those costs, but yet have the due diligence acknowledgement, I guess, that he can move forward with his project because the land would support his desired use. And so that's the way it's been presented. So again, the development portion of this would be phase 1, and it would include 8 units for contractor storage and 86 units of self-storage. Again, that's not how many buildings of self-storage there would be. That's just how many units of self-storage that could be rented from those buildings. The property itself does have some C1 wetland area on it. That is outside of the area that's proposed to be rezoned. You can kind of see that on the map where my cursor is currently. This is like a depressional wetland, so it really just follows the topography there. And it has some wooded areas around it at the top of the slope. And the area that's proposed to be rezoned is over here and is currently being farmed. So I do have some conditions that are recommended here based on the way that this is being proposed. Typically, we would have a certified survey map and a site plan accompanying a request like this. Currently, because we don't, the condition number 1, I'm sorry, it would be condition number 2 reads that the subject, this would be subject to the Village of Lisbon's approval of a corresponding certified survey map petition within 12 months of the date of approval of the rezoning. So that this isn't an open-ended rezoning. If the petitioner didn't come back with a certified survey map with a lot, that would match this area to be rezoned, then this would revert back to its current situation. And again, we put a 12-month shot clock on that to give some time to prepare the documents, but to make sure that it's still in the near future, not just an open-ended approval. The rezoning would also be limited again to this particular parcel within the overall lands that the family owns, which again, we talked about in depth during our concept review for this item. I'll just finish by stating that the petitioner is present in the audience if there's specific questions for him from the Plan Commission.
Warren, can you pull up the rezoning exhibit so they can see exactly which portion is being proposed to be rezoned?
It
I
is,
know it's in the packets,
Yeah.
but for anyone who's watching on Zoom, they won't be able to see that.
yep, I can bring that up.
While he's doing that, James, do you want to step on up to the podium here. Lauren will get that up. You don't need to speak or make any additional presentation, but if you want to, certainly now's the time to do that.
Okay. So
Done.
if I may just clarify the reason why I'd like to go in steps of approval for this, just with the last go around with the attempt of this type of project, you know, I saw the list of items to do and I got real excited and I said, okay, I'm gonna get all these done, and got a little ahead of myself. You can have the best site plan in the world, but if the zoning isn't approved, then the site plan really doesn't matter a whole lot. So I just want to make sure that I have the appropriate steps of approval from everyone, and I'll gladly be working through the CSM finalization. Dropped off the preliminary CSM today, and then I'll be working on the site plan, hopefully with everybody's approval. One key thing that was noted last time was just some concern of the aesthetics, making sure that looked very nice. I do have some little printouts of images. No, okay,
This is only for the rezone.
Okay.
All we're talking about is zoning. We're not talking about the project itself.
okay.
I do have up on the screen now the rezoning exhibit, which includes the legal description of the portion of the property that's being proposed to be rezoned to B3, which is again, approximately 3 acres.
If I may, and taking me back about a month or so, and Joe, jump in on this, and because I think there was an issue with the irregular, shape previously, but it looks like on this map, it's been addressed. Am I looking at something that's there
Nope,
and not there?
that's the proposed shape of the rezone.
All right, so yes, so now's the time. So anything else? You're done with your comments on the rezoning, right?
Yes.
Okay, all right, so the plan commission members, any questions of staff that you would like to ask or the applicant for clarification? I guess one question I had, so I think I know the answer, but we will have just a very small B2 island to the west of the B3 zoned land if we approve this. Is that correct? Looking at the second to last page in the material submitted.
I believe this encompasses all of that.
That's not,
The scale on the concept plan is different than what appears on the actual legal description. So that was originally done and submitted as part of the concept plan. And that is, I think, a little bit off. If you look at where the southern boundary of the proposed phase 1 parcel is on that plan, it's a little further down than where this is as well. So I think just the scale might have been a little bit off on that original concept plan. So this was prepared by a surveyor.
Yes.
And so I would trust the current rezoning exhibit, the scaled document that I have on the screen here, and that should include all of that. If you look just as a juxtaposition in your packets at the GIS map that I prepared, the location map against the proposed exhibit, it appears that all of that B2 area is going to be within the proposed lot.
yeah, I mean, so Rob has this exhibit up on,
That's not the actual exhibit. The actual exhibit that's part of the request is what's up on the screen. That's also in
so
your
I
packet.
guess the question is what is the current zoning of the larger parcel?
There could, I guess, at the end of the day, it's possible that there could still be a sliver of that B2 left.
Okay.
It's gonna be about, 47 feet. Cause the top portion is 150.29 feet And it's approximately 200 feet to that little point.
Point, okay, all right, so it's not enough for anyone to do anything with that, I mean, so it's.
So it's a split zone lot currently. I couldn't tell you why or how that boundary ended up there for the current B2 on this parcel. But again, the future land use, which I think is the important bit, is commercial for the entire lot, which again, the larger lot, let me go back to my GIS here, is the area outlined in blue here. So the entire parent parcel here is currently planned for future commercial.
So so the exhibit we're working with tonight is the one that's dated September 3rd,
Correct.
not the one dated August 20, I don't know, my arms aren't long enough.
Yeah,
27th.
Correct. The September 3rd was a supplemental submittal.
Yeah, the original kind of harkens back to the original concept proposal.
But you have no stated future use of the parent parcel at all, correct? You're only dealing with what's on September 3rd. We don't know anything about what's left of the parent.
Correct.
Steve.
2.9967 acres.
Yep.
All right, any other questions from the plan commission members?
I have
Kurt?
one question for Warren, I guess, is, the last time we discussed this, there was a lot of discussion about parcel LSBT 161999010, which is the portion of this property that is to the south of the property that's currently being discussed. And that there's a driveway that leads in from the southwest corner of their property across someone else's property that provides access to 3 parcels. And at the time, we said, Warren, that you could only have up to 3 parcels on a given driveway. Is that correct?
Correct. Yep.
So my question is, I know we're just talking about rezoning, but the big discussion was about this big, huge parcel that is to the south of what's being discussed. And it's behind the wooded area and behind the area that has the concern about the wetlands. That how do in the future do we get access to that? Or are we not concerned about that when we're talking about just rezoning the property that's in question?
So we essentially don't have a solution to that because that's out of the scope of what's being proposed for this rezoning. So the certified survey map would certainly have to attempt to address that because how the remnant portion of this parcel ends up matters to the effect of that question. Also the site plan will matter because the site plan gets into how potentially the rear of that parcel could be accessed, I guess, and whether that would be through some type of easement for the rear of that parcel, because we can't rely on the rear of this parcel being accessible via that current shared driveway, because that makes 4 lots on a shared driveway.
So we could approve this zoning, but in the future, that would have to be addressed before any site plan would be approved on how you get access to that back property. Is that correct?
Correct.
I think, I mean, you understand where the comments, staff understands the comments of the plan commission, so I think the ideal hope is that when he comes with the site plan and the CSM, that the issues raised are addressed.
I would just say that one of the things that came up during the previous discussion was that the petitioner's hope was that there could be a driveway that went around the wooded area, around the wetland, and accessed the rear portion of the remnant piece of this parcel that we're talking about rezoning the northeast corner of. If you look at the rezoning exhibit, it does not go all the way up to that wooded area. There is still a strip of land that's left that is still going to be zoned R1 at the end of the day, if this should go forward and get approved by the board. So I guess it's still plausible that idea could be carried out. But again, we haven't seen the details of how at this juncture. Yep.
All right, anyone else have any comments on the rezoning?
We had to figure out the driveway thing when he actually buys the land, that we have to break it off. Cause then that would be when it creates the parcel then, right? Not just, we're just.
Right, the
Right,
CSM.
right. So, and we're gonna see this as one of the lots on this CSM, but we'll address the CSM and the site plan at a later point.
But then we're gonna have to go, or he's gonna have to go through another rezoning, because if the rezoning and the CSM don't exactly match, we've got an apple and a banana. That's why I am very concerned about this whole thing, doing it in this process, in this sequence, because we're trying to rezone something that doesn't exist. And now we're gonna make it exist. And does this match what we just did, or we're gonna go through it again? And you're gonna be standing up here for another rezoning request because it doesn't match the CSM. We don't have a site plan.
So it's, I think, to Joe's point, this works out extremely well if it matches up exactly. If it does not, can you answer that question? I think that.
I can tell you that I did receive a submittal for the CSM today. I have not looked at it. So I couldn't tell you if it exactly matches, and even if I did look at it, I could not answer that question because I'm not a surveyor. But we did receive a 2-lot CSM today.
Does that match up exactly with what you're asking for the rezoning here?
Yes, the same surveyor prepared both documents. The legal description exhibit that is being shown matches what is being proposed with the CSM.
I just want to be sure the board and the plan commission are aware of condition 2 in the staff memo, subject to the Village of Lisbon's approval of a corresponding CSM. So if that CSM isn't approved for some of the reasons that are proposed, suggested here, then we're back to square one, because that would kill the rezone as well.
It's my concern. I think we're absolutely backwards on this thing. No site plan, no CSM, and the zoning doesn't fit something that doesn't exist. We're doing it, I believe, backwards. We need a site plan for this parcel, the mother parcel. Carve out this one and then deal with the other issues that are gonna come up at that time. We have a mother parcel. We have the big parcel, okay? We don't have any address of how this thing, he wants to carve out this portion of the entire parcel. We're not dealing with anything as far as the site plan, stormwater, other uses around here, how we get access to the remainder of the parcel. We're just like putting blinders on, like that doesn't exist right now. We're just gonna rezone it. And I think we're doing it backwards.
So, Mr. President, I recommend that we continue with our hearing. I think we can resume this discussion when we get to the discussion item later in our agenda, but right now we're in the public hearing.
Okay.
Anyone else have any questions of staff or the applicant? Mark, do you have anything at this point?
No, I did have concerns over the process, but that'll be obviously addressed later.
All right.
Oh, and also too, is the 12-month kind of our standard allowance for that to transpire, or is that?
Yes, it is.
Extended
When it's
some.
done conditionally, yes, it's within 12 months.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to open the public hearing then from citizens' comments. I've got 2 or 3 minutes rules I'm going to run through if there's any comments or questions. Does anyone wish to speak on this item tonight?
If anyone on Zoom would like to make comments during this public hearing, please use the raise hand function.
If there's no comments, I'm going to spare my 2-minute speech. So I don't hear.
No hands raised.
Nothing on there, nothing in here in person. All right, then I'm going to
Close at 7:07.
close the public hearing. All right, and then I guess this third one, this is a plan commission public hearing, correct? So we're not, Mark's not needed for this one?
Correct. Correct. Just the first two were joint with Village Board and Plan Commission. The third is Plan Commission only, though trustee Moonen is welcome to stay on Zoom if he wants to enjoy the festivities.
All right, then we'll move on to the third public hearing. Lisa, do you want to read that into the minutes or everyone's?
Sure. Public hearing number 3 is a request by owner applicants Ronald and Jean Humphreys for approval of a major grading permit for a landscape berm under section 3 sub C sub 5 of the Lisbon zoning code to be located on the property at N95 West 26157 County Road Q and identified as tax key LSBT 0161999 011 in the R1 suburban single-family zoning district.
All right, Lauren, you want to start us off?
Yes, so this is in the same vicinity as the parcel we were just speaking about, but it is an unrelated matter to Mr. Heinrich's proposed development. The current owners of this subject parcel, which I have up on the screen, are in the process of building a landscape berm to screen their single-family home from the sight of vehicles and the sound of the traffic on 164. The building inspector saw the project that was kind of getting underway and basically let the property owner know that they needed to pause the project and wait till they had the proper approvals from the village. So the object here is to bring in clean fill, create this berm, landscape it very nicely, and then that will achieve the objectives of the Humphreys, the property owners, and allow their backyard to have some privacy and again, be screened from 164. So currently the code states that if you remember back to our zoning code update that I was previously talking about, we removed the requirement for all major grading permits to be a conditional use. So the village engineer can still refer a grading permit to the plan commission at his discretion. If there's some unique circumstances or however he feels, if he thinks the plan commission should look at it, he can forward that along. So in that instance, that's the case. He is chosen to do that. In the portion of the code that speaks to berms, which is the land altering activities portion, section 3C5, there's a clause that any project that exceeds the requirements of 3C5, including the design standards for berms, still has to have a public hearing with notice sent for 300 feet, which is the same as what we do for conditional use permits. So this is essentially a land altering activities conditional use permit and a major grading permit that the village engineer is referring. The portions of those standards that this berm is exceeding would be the overall height of certain portions of it. This is an undulating berm. But if the proposed berm exceeds 3 feet above the existing topography, then it requires plan commission approval. And there's portions of this berm that will do that. So the petitioner has provided a detailed submittal. They've submitted responses to the specific standards and the landscape berm considerations, which are in your packet. And the submittal also includes their grading plan and their landscape plan for the berm. So again, since they started this project, it's been paused. They're not doing any work currently. They'd like to get approval through all of the village's processes so that they can get this done and planted before winter is their goal. So we've got some specific conditions in both staff review. They're very boilerplate compared to what we used to use for our major grading permit, conditional use permits. So we do have some representatives for this project here, if there's any specific questions from the Plan Commission. And the village engineer can answer any questions regarding to the details of the grading.
Mitch, do you want to add anything at this point on, or?
I mean, Orin essentially addressed, for the most part, the reason why I wanted to bring this to the board was because they were exceeding the design standards for the berm and with the amount of material that was being brought in on site. With regards to the drainage, we did look at that, and the site itself drains both east and southeast to the southeast corner of the property and then ends up going south along a property line there. So from what I'm seeing, it should not have any adverse effects to any of the neighboring properties.
Does the applicant have anything that you'd like to add that hasn't already been stated? No? All right, then we will hear from Plan Commission members.
Are you planning on doing this all in one fell swoop?
I guess if you're going,
Can you
if we're
come
gonna
up to
ask
the mic?
questions, then we'll have you come on up.
Yeah. Okay. You want to
We've got
state
people
your,
on Zoom. They can't hear you if you're not into the mic.
Jean Humphreys,
Thank you.
and yes, the landscaper, we're working with Breezy Hill. And they said they can complete creating the berm and plant it within a week or two at this time of year.
okay, but you're planning on doing it all
Yes,
in one?
we
okay,
want it
that-
all
that-
done this
yeah,
before winter. Yeah,
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's my only question. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Any other questions? I mean, Orin, you said that it's gonna be done and planted here, and you've got the detailed plans.
Yeah,
The fills being brought in, what we were told was on cue to the shared driveway down to your parcel, correct?
yes,
So
Yeah.
the dump trucks are primarily on a county trunk.
All right, anyone else? Any other Plan Commission questions? Kurt?
So the east of the proposed burn to 164,
Mhm.
is that currently being farmed? Because your parcel extends a lot farther east than the berm itself.
yes,
So is that being farmed
it
today?
is, yes.
And will
yeah,
that continue to be farmed after the berm is in place?
Yes,
Any other questions?
Nope.
All right, nothing from the Plan Commission. Then is there anyone here from the public that wishes to speak on this? I'm opening the public hearing.
Again, if anyone on Zoom wishes to speak during the public hearing, please use the raise hand function. No hands raised on Zoom.
All right, last chance from anyone here. All right, hearing no comments, we'll close the public hearing. 7:15.
7:15.
All right. So now we are, closed all the public hearings, which was item 3. Item 4 on the agenda tonight are citizen comments. So this is another chance for citizens to make comments tonight, limit the presentation to 3 minutes. This can be on, any of the public hearings or anything else on the agenda tonight. And I'm guessing there's not anything, but is there any Nope.
Anyone on Zoom use the raise hand function? You guys are gonna be sick of hearing me say that tonight. No hands raised.
All right, item 5 is approval of the minutes of the August 27th, 2025 public hearing and plan commission.
On the meeting minutes, I would ask you to approve them as amended. Under the roll call, I accidentally left in trustees Quinn, Moonen, and Beal rather than taking them out. So I will be making that edit tomorrow. I ask your approval with that change.
Is there any other comments or is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve is amended.
Second.
All right.
That was Joe and Rob.
Yes, yep. Rob
Thank
just
you.
slightly beat Sean's. Any other discussion?
No.
Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion carries 7-0. We will move on to new business. Item 6A is discussion of necessary action to consider the proposed amendments to the various sections of the Village of Lisbon zoning code and recommendation to the village board of the same. Orin, you already gave your presentation. We had our discussion. Are there any other questions or comments, or does someone want to make a motion?
There is a recommended motion at the bottom of the staff memo.
I'll make a motion to approve the proposed amendments to sections 13 and 14 of the Lisbon zoning code and recommendation to village board of the same.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Kurt and Brian,
There any additional discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries 7-0. Item 6B is discussion and necessary action on the request of James Heinrichs and Hometown Storage Solutions LLC to rezone an almost 3-acre portion of Lisbon Tax Key 0161.999.010 from R1 Suburban Single Family Residential District to the B3 General Business District and recommendation to the village board of the same. All right, so I know there's some concerns here, but Orin, I think you don't have anything else to add at this point. You did that all earlier. Yep. Joe, I think you made some comments earlier. I mean,
Don't we need a motion first before we have a discussion?
no.
Okay.
I would say that based on the comments from the plan commission during the public hearing, you could conditionally approve it, subject to approval of a certified survey map and a site plan of operation for the use of the area being rezoned.
And again, it is already conditioned on the CSM.
Basically, if it doesn't, if we don't like the CSM, he's just gonna have to pay another rezoning thing and start over.
Right, it's not fully approved until that condition is met, and so he's got to satisfy the condition of the CSM.
Eric, if this is tabled, do we have to do another public hearing for this? Or do we suspend the public hearing to the next meeting?
Well, we've already closed the hearing. It depends on whether it's going to be significantly changed. If it's changed, we'd probably have to do another public hearing. But if it's just for further discussion at a later date, we would not.
I mean, I guess, I mean, if the CSM comes in, which already, I mean, the current draft is, it matches up with the rezoning request exactly.
I
I
haven't
mean,
looked at it.
well, I mean, the applicant is stating that it does.
Correct.
Using the same planner and it has the exact same 2.99 and some change acreage. So I mean, that is the intent. But I guess we'll see when that process plays out. We can have additional discussion, or Joe, are you itching to make a motion first?
Nope,
All right.
absolutely not.
All right, again, discussion or a motion, anyone?
Okay.
Wants to wrap around, oh.
Any,
Okay, I'm trying to, get all this stuff, a motion, so basically what we have on the floor per what Elisa has is to make a motion to.
and John, I'm sorry again, but
Okay.
maybe it's just because you're on the far end, but
I know,
Sherry, can you just angle that mic down? It might pick you guys up a little bit better. Thank you.
Okay. So what we're looking here is, and I'm just trying to put this in the best, is to approve the rezoning as is, and basically contingent on, the verification that the CSM aligns, with the CSM aligns with the, future,
yeah, I mean, so there
future
is a recommend, that's what Oren's recommended motion is, if that's,
Right, but just be sure to include the conditions.
That's what I'm saying,
and
is, the condition
This
would
is
be.
a
to-
recommendation to the board.
so, and Oren has laid out here that again, and the recommended motion does not need to be the motion that is made, but it is laid out here as a possible motion to approve the
Right, that's-
rezoning
that's what I'm
request
trying to put together.
and as recommendation to the board with the 5 conditions that are detailed in the memo.
Okay. Alrighty, my apologies, people. So, the motion I do have is approval to go forward, with the Heinrich's Hometown Storage Solution property located at County Line, County Line Road and State Road 164, consisting of, LSBT 161999010 as identified in the zoning. For
Sean,
the
you
re-
don't have to read all of the conditions.
Right, and I got, that contingent on meeting all 5 conditions as outlined by the planner, as well as verification of the CSM recently that was just submitted. So, because I think that's probably one of the biggest thing is to make sure that we verify the CSM aligns.
Sure, and
with-
that's condition 2, I think, on of the 5. And again, we had 2 different exhibits in here. The one that we're looking at is for the 2.9967 acre site.
That's correct for the 2.
Right, so that's the motion. Is there a second to Sean's motion?
A second.
All right, motions been made and seconded. Now it's time for further discussion.
I'll make comments. I continue to be of the opinion that this is not the proper zoning for this area. I don't believe that carving out a part of the mother parcel is the correct way of doing this because we have no site plan. We have no idea what's going to happen with the remainder of the mother parcel. And I am in opposition to this motion.
All right, Brian, anything to add?
I guess my biggest concern would be I know we beat this horse to death, but if it doesn't line up exactly with the CSM, then we're starting over again. Is that correct? I just want to double check.
Correct.
Okay. And so we rezoned this, so I guess we do have a way out. I guess I answered my own question in my head. Is the second phase, and I know we're not talking about the second phase, but you have to look ahead. If the first phase doesn't pan out, the second phase isn't gonna happen, then it all goes back to the way it was. Am I?
Well, we're not rezoning the second phase tonight, right?
Correct, but I want to consider that with my thinking on this first phase. We have a way out. It would go, if everything falls apart, it goes back to the R1 zoning. I guess that's a short
Or
answer.
it goes back to
Short
zoning
question.
currently in place, which is the,
current zoning, yeah.
Right.
Split zoning, yes.
And that's,
Okay.
that's what
I
number
would
2 is on.
say it slightly differently. I would say it stays R1 until these conditions are met.
but some of it's B2.
Okay, So-
Or it stays as currently zoned until these conditions are met.
okay. Got it, understood.
And to address phase 2, if it's going to be consistent with the concept plan that was proposed, that land would also require a future rezoning.
Got it.
I mean, if we were doing the CSM here tonight, we would need to be, I mean, at some point, the rezoning, these are all different steps in the process that need to take place. I think we could, we could have, I see Joel's point, and we could have a different order of the process, but I don't, the application and the request is here tonight, and I don't have a problem with voting in favor of it, because everything else will fall into place if it does, and if it doesn't, then we're not locked into the zoning.
What happens with the stormwater?
What do you mean about
Doesn't get any
stormwater?
difference, and we're only dealing with one of the lots in the CSM. What are we dealing with the rest of the property?
Well, the CSM will include, go ahead, speak to the CSM.
Well, your site plan of operation is gonna have to deal with the stormwater piece.
But it's only for the parcel. We're talking of the 2.9 plus acres of it. We're not dealing with the area of the stormwater.
Different than Quick Trip. You look at Quick Trip's lot, it's the same thing. It's got their own.
Mitch,
treatment.
Can you go to the mic?
I completely understand what you're talking about from a planning standpoint, Joe. But in this situation, if you look at Quick Trip right next door, they have their own facility that's taking care of their own stormwater. So I understand we always want to look ahead, and we want the regional stormwater facilities to accommodate for the whole entire site. And unfortunately, that's not what he's looking for at this point in time, nor is there any other interest in that area as far as we know for that whole
But
entire
my
parcel.
question, Mitch, is this, let's just call it 3-acre parcel.
Mhm.
We're dealing with that, so he's gonna have to address stormwater as an example at one point on that 3-acre parcel standing alone by itself,
Correct.
okay? Then he wants to put 86 plus units out there, plus 8 buildings or 6 buildings. We've got all of that, plus all the pavement. It's gonna essentially be a 3-acre paved parcel when he's all done with all this stuff. Where's the stormwater gonna go? We haven't got a site plan at all that deals with how you get all of this on all of this with all the stuff that's gonna be required.
Well, I think that's to your point. I mean, maybe that doesn't happen. I mean, but if,
But all of that comes up with the CSM, the conditional use permit, and the site plan of operation. So that will
Which
all
we
be
haven't
dealt
seen.
with. Correct.
I think this is more just giving the owner that we're gonna give it a green light and he should spend money on engineering, if I understand him correctly. So if we say, no, we don't want this here, then he's not gonna waste thousands of dollars on figuring that stuff out, is what I'm getting.
But then if we run the risk, if he sells the parcel, it's rezoned to B3, he sells the parcel, somebody else can come in with something entirely different. And we're stuck with B3.
No, nothing happens until we get the CSM and as condition
The
number.
CSM could work, yeah, it matches.
It matches, but would be, he can't address the other issues after it's rezoned and decides to sell the parcel, it's stuck as B3, correct?
I thought number 2 was just we get out of it.
No.
No,
if it matches up exactly, they would have the right to the B3 zoning.
you
You're
could
correct.
add
You're
another
correct.
condition that a site plan of operation be approved.
Oh,
I would bet 27 cents that the legal description that's in the document before us tonight is gonna match the CSM. It's because you make the CSM match the legal description, end of discussion, that's not gonna be what's gonna hold this thing up. But as Sherry says, we may end up with this falls through and he doesn't put up all these buildings. And all of a sudden he sells it to somebody else as it's already zoned because it matched the CSM match. It's the only thing that we've got. And if he's not going to go through with the development, he's not going to create a plan of operation and a site plan for us to review. He's going to put it on the market, sell it to Joe Blow, and who's going to come in and says, I just bought a piece of property, it's zoned B2. B3, and I'm gonna have something else on it. There's no way, I mean, we're doing this all backwards.
So Sean, are you okay to amend your motion to add contingent upon site plan approval as well?
Exactly.
Is that, okay, I.
Exactly,
So
yes.
Sean, you made you amended your motion and Rob, are you
Yeah, I'm good with
amending your
that.
second? Okay, like, do that. a second.
That would get you out of that.
Well-
I get it's backwards, but.
You know, if there's no objection, you can just do that by unanimous consent. It'll be amended.
All right, there's no objections to the amending of the motion?
No.
All right, so that motion's been amended to include the 5 conditions stated in here as well as contingent upon the site plan approval.
So I've got with a condition to approve a site plan of operation for this applicant, substantially in line with what was reviewed conceptually within 12 months. Is that correct? Is that the intent of your amending
As far as density or as far as use? I mean, that would be
as
the,
far as use?
as far as use, because I think, okay, so that would. be
Not
the-
density, it's just for this.
It's just for this, we're just trying to be as
2.99,
narrow as possible and.
All right, so is that, as it was eloquently laid out there, that is what you amended the motion to?
Let me be clear. Are we saying this has to be storage units? And if it's not storage units, it's not gonna be rezoned? That what we're saying by the site plan? It has to be consistent with what was submitted?
That's why I'm
You
questioning it.
haven't seen a piece of paper, a drawing that shows how you get 86 storage units and 8 separate other buildings on a piece of property. But we're doing all this stuff, including the rezoning, which is on the table right now, without seeing any of this stuff.
Joe, that was
So
my
what's
point
gonna
to the,
force us to, we're gonna have to accept whatever he presents as a site plan then?
that was my point to the rezone question, or the tabling question. I mean, do you want to table it and then bring it up with the CSM and require a site plan so that you can have something to rezone so long as it's in substantial conformance with the site plan? Which I believe we did recommend to the applicant, but he wanted to do it this way so he could secure zoning so that he could take the next steps.
That would be my preference because I want to see what I'm buying. And right now, all I've got is words and words don't mean diddly. There's a heck of a lot of sheet metal and parking lot and buildings that we're talking about that we're going to get, I'm afraid, jammed down our throat because we've approved all this stuff without seeing it.
Well, if we can go that route, or we could approve with the site plan and plan of operation contingent on that with the including contractor buildings and self-storage at a non-specified density. So those would be the 2 uses that would be consistent with what the prior application was and what was being discussed. We're not locked into any specific density.
But
I would note that both of those are conditional uses. They're not permitted uses in the B3.
Warren, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Is this a normal process that we're following? Having zoning before approving a conditional use permit, or is this unique?
It's neither the normal process nor is it unique. The ideal process, the prescribed process when we have our planner appointment meetings is for petitioners to bring forward all of the various aspects of their project at one time. So that the plan commission has all of the information at one time and to save the petitioner time and money as far as not having to have as many meetings before the plan commission. Has this been done before? Yes. You know, is it the norm here since I've been the planner? No, but is this done here and in other communities this way? It is. So it's really what's the comfort level of the plan commission and ultimately the board, because you all are making a recommendation and the board has to approve it. So everybody has to have a certain comfort level with the process.
And I'll weigh in on the question as well. I've done this 35 years in 60 different communities, and I see it a number of different ways. But I would say it's fairly common that rezoning comes first. Because until they get that rezoning, a lot of people don't want to invest, just for the reason he's described. They don't want to invest in it if they're not going to get that rezoning approval. That kind of sets the stage. But the rezoning might have a checklist of issues that have to be resolved, as this does. It might not have every element of the checklist yet. I don't know that we've really pinned down what you're looking for a site plan. You know, but it's supposed to, the thought process in those communities that operate that way is they develop a checklist in the rezoning. If you do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, then you're going to be rezoned. And you do it within a certain amount of time. I would say that's fairly common and in a lot of different contexts.
So, I think I understood what you said. So if we did this with the checklist that Orin has provided us, if those items are not completed, the zoning is not done. Or is the zoning done and then they have 12 months to complete the items? That's what I'm concerned about. Is it one or the other?
I've seen it both ways. I prefer the one where it's not done until those items are done.
And I would agree with that. I would like to see it that way, where the zoning doesn't happen until, we can approve the zoning if they complete these items. And if they don't, the zoning isn't done.
I mean, you can read item 2, a couple different ways, but it does say, I mean, I would read it as though it doesn't happen until that's done.
That's what my thought was when I seconded it.
One of the things I wanted to add is just going back to the zoning and some of the requirements for the district that this is being proposed to be zoned to, which would be the B3 district. So there are area regulations for all of our zoning districts that include floor area. There's a maximum floor area ratio, and then there's an open space requirement as well. So there's going to have to be a certain amount of green space. You can't pave the whole lot, and you can only have so much floor area of building for a particular parcel as well. So those things get looked at the time of a site plan of operation, as well as the stormwater. So we don't know if he's meeting the stormwater requirements until Mitch gets to look at, how much impervious is being proposed, so that he can know how to apply the current standards for what's allowed. So the amount of impervious will dictate whether there needs to be stormwater, facilities on site and, or not. And again, that doesn't change these overall area regulations for the zoning district. You can only have so much building, and then you still have to have some green space for a lot, even if it's going to be a commercial lot.
So I'm up in approval of going ahead forward with this under those conditions that the zoning doesn't take place, change, until all those requirements are met.
So I think that is the motion on the table, but let's just clarify the additional,
We need to clarify.
Item.
So Sean's original motion was motion to approve subject to planner comments. I still need clarification on what the intent is for approving a site plan of operation.
So go ahead and list, so.
I need to
Okay,
know the
site-
intent.
So the site plan, subject to the site plan approval and plan of operations, which would,
For what?
include, it would include contractor buildings and self-storage.
Right. Was that your intent when you
Is-
made the amendment, Sean?
That's correct.
Okay.
Basically, I just want to make sure that we cover those contingencies.
Okay, is that-
You want
that's-
it specifically for those two things? Or just a site plan of operation in general? That's what I'm asking.
Don't we want to put the word approved in there
Correct.
and not just a submittal of one?
Yes.
I mean, is that what your motion and the second is? Because if we don't have that, then all they have to do is submit something and it's already met the requirement.
It would also be approval of that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
as an
okay.
example, the current condition 2 in both staff review is subject to the Village of Lisbon's approval of a corresponding certified survey map petition within 12 months of the date of approval of the rezoning. So
Does that mean it comes back here? Those things come back
A
here?
certified survey map always comes here.
Okay, does the site plan and plan of operation
Always.
come, okay, does that come back to the plan commission?
Yes,
Okay.
this is
I
the
wanna
only
make sure
approving
that
body for
that's
that.
Clear.
yeah, the plan commission would be seeing the CSM first, but you would be recommending approval to the board. But you
Correct.
do have approval authority over site plan and plan of operation.
Okay, I just want to make sure that everybody knows what's going to happen and what's required.
And
Is self-storage a conditional use in a B3?
it is.
Yes.
So do we want to say conditional use site plan, plan of operation?
Well, they won't get the site plan of operation without approval of the conditional use permit.
All right, so I think you're still looking for a little more details on that.
I just need to know if you want a generalized site plan of operation approval, or if you want site plan of operation approval for self-storage and contractor condos. Do you want it specific or do you want it general?
Sean, it's your
I need
motion.
to
How
know what
specific
the
do you want to be
intent
here?
of the motion
I would
was.
want to try to keep it as specific as possible because thing is true.
Got it.
Everything has to align.
Yep, I just wanted to know.
All right, so,
That's what I'm saying, contingent on alignment of CSM as originally proposed, that everything aligns, that there's
Okay.
no.
So
that we
this is
don't have
the,
deviation.
this is a condition that I would suggest you add to the conditions that are shown in the staff report.
Yep, I'm adding one.
I think Eric's got it written out.
It's subject to approval of a conditional use site plan and plan of operation for the use substantially as proposed in the application within 12 months of approval of the rezoning.
Sounds, yes, exactly.
All right, so the motion is, so Sean amended his motion to include that language and Rob second, approved that amendment to his motion. All right, so now everyone understands, I think, very clearly what the motion on the table is. Is there any additional discussion on the motion? All right, hearing no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay.
Nay,
All right, motion carries 6-1.
Got it.
You've got some work ahead of you, but I think you understand what's, and work with staff as we move forward.
And I want to thank the board for the assistance on crafting the motion because I do apologize for the word salad in the initial review. So thank you, everyone.
All right.
We got through it. Item C is discussion and necessary action on the request of the Humphreys for approval of the major grading permit for the landscaping berm the property at N95 W26157 County Road Q, Lisbon tax key number 0161.999.011.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented to
Is-
include the planner's comments and village engineer's comments.
I will second his motion.
All right, any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Right, motion carries. Item D is discussion and necessary action on the Scott and Elizabeth Daniel for a single lot CSM to combine their 4 parcels identified as Lisbon tax key numbers 0254.004, 005, 006, and 007 into one lot located at N61 W25681 Walnut Road, and recommendation to the village board of the same. Lauren?
It's rarely the case, but this is as simple as it sounds. The property owner has 4 parcels. His home straddles 2 of them. He's got various other parts of his, the driveway, the access, the septic that are on various parcels. Nobody likes that that's the case, and we would like to combine them all into one property that encompasses all of it. The proposed lot would meet all the district standards for R2. I think this came about because the petitioner was looking to do a detached accessory structure, and in conversation with the building inspector, building inspector realized that, you can't do that across property lines. We should really have you combine these into one parcel. So that's what's being proposed. If you look at the exhibit of the CSM, you can kind of see where all of the features of the lot fall in relation to the current layout of the parcels. So this really does just clean everything up. Again, the petitioner is in the audience if there's any specific questions for him.
Do we have to do anything else as the board or something as far as getting these under one tax key number then?
No, the county will take care of that after it's been recorded.
Okay, because the reason I ask is I have a relative who's trying to do the same thing in another municipality, and the county said, we won't do it. You have to go back to the municipality to do it.
Then there are other issues at play.
Okay, thank you. No question.
So Orin, what's the background on this property? I see a lot of different lots where it looks like there was an existing house that was overlaid on multiple lot lines. So was this a subdivision? Was this a farm that was created into a subdivision? And these 4 lots were created even though there was a house there?
I'm not sure when this was platted exactly. I can say that at least one of the other instances, you can see that there's a tie line between the parcels. So at least the county acknowledged that the ownership maybe was reduced down to one tax parcel. That's not the case in Mr. Daniels' property.
Could you step on up?
Each of those 4 parcels that the Daniels own retains its own tax parcel number.
It's a very interesting situation. The house was built by others in the mid-90s. This is Walnut Hills subdivision. Very uniform parcels throughout along Walnut Road here. We bought this house in 2008 as is, and it's always been listed. We get one tax bill. Tax bill says for lot whatever 004 includes 5, 6, and 7. And it's always been that way. And now that I want to make an improvement, obviously it doesn't really meet proper code. So we're just, like Warren said, just wanting to clean it up and make it one parcel so that we can proceed. It's weird.
Sure.
Even when you look at it on GIS, there are a number of other neighbors that have the parcel that is south of us was, I think, 3 initially, or 2 in a triangle. And then we have our 4, and then there's 2 single ones, and then there's another neighbor that has 2 that was combined into 1, and another neighbor has 4 or 5 that were combined. It's weird that our property was never combined when that house was initially built. I have no idea why that would be.
I don't want to belabor it, but I will just tell you, we see this in a lot of communities within the past several years because the state changed the law as a result of a U.S. Supreme Court case, which my office handled, but it's another story. The result of the change in the law is each of these parcels, there's 4 parcels here. Under the new law, they are treated as separate parcels unto themselves. They can be sold separately, they can be built on separately. And because of that, building inspectors and assessors have started relooking at these parcels that we have assumed that are one, they're treated as one, they're used as one, but really it's four. And the law treats them as four. And to avoid getting four tax bills, to allow people to build accessory structures as is the issue here, they need to combine them to make them one. So that's what's happening.
Kurt, the subdivision was platted in 1955, so it probably predates any of us, so.
I'll take exception to that.
Almost everybody, sorry about that.
You kiddos. I was in high school then. Okay. You looking for a motion?
Yes.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve this as presented.
Subject to planner and engineer comments?
Please.
Second.
All right. Any additional discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. And motion carries 7-0. On to item E under new business, which is discussion and necessary action on the request of Jacob Webb and JSD Professional Services on behalf of the Hamilton School District for a site plan of operation amendment. No,
We should, this is like Hamilton's monthly submittal. We should just put them on as a black and white on every
They've
agenda.
had a lot this year.
to connect the existing parking lots and add a walking path on the Hamilton High School property located at W220 and 6151 Town Line Road, Lisbon tax key number 0241.997. You want to come on up and Orin will start with his comments?
Sure. So the basis for this is to create a connection between the south parking lot, which is considered the fine arts lot at the high school, and the adjacent parcel that the school district owns, specifically the portion of it that encompasses the Halquist Youth Sports Complex. And this connection will be a drive aisle between those two parking lots and also include a pedestrian walking path. And the petitioner has already submitted and I believe received approval from the county for stormwater associated with the added impervious for this project. The village engineer reached out to the county just to get their input on whether they were aware of this and whether there were any concerns from them regarding this. And there were none on that end, which I outline in number 11, traffic circulation and access info with staff review. So nothing else in regards to the operation of the school or the parking or the number of employees or any of that is changing. It's just adding this connection, which will be utilized as overflow to the benefit of the high school during school hours and for kind of the inverse during special events at the Fine Arts Center. It could be overflow for something happening there for that.
All right, anything to add? I mean, you haven't.
No, I think that's covers most of it. As mentioned, Waukesha County has reviewed in terms of stormwater and erosion control. That permit as it is in place. The existing stormwater facilities will be maintained as well as control the added impervious. Drainage will be maintained for the overall development here for the school as well as the sports complex. The school district is also soliciting bids currently. They're looking to get those finalized early October and construction underway yet this year.
This could be, you hoping to have it in place here this year?
Yep. At least construction underway,
I mean,
depending
it
on.
obviously would have been, to show his point, I mean, we would have loved to have seen this and as, I'm looking around, maybe the only person who does have a children at the high school, I would have loved to have this done before the school year started. But sooner the better. Um, so you had one point in second paragraph talking about this is to provide access to the overflow parking for the high school during special events and regular school hours. But again, this will also provide not just access to the parking, but ingress, egress, to parents dropping off children, to, traffic flow over people to the main parking lot. I think I just talked to you briefly before the
Yeah,
meeting.
so
I mean,
this-
there's not gonna be a gate up
Nope,
here.
this will be maintained. There is no planned gates on either end, so traffic flow will be maintained during normal hours to and from between the school as well as the sports complex.
They need this.
So will there be student parking?
It can be used as over student parking.
And it doesn't show up on here, and I'm trying to look on there, the exit from the parking, the athletic field, athletic group parking lot, does that exit out across from a road?
Yes, across from Silver Meadows Drive.
That the traffic coming, cars coming, exiting from the north and cars exiting from the south, because that, at least when my kids were in high school, backed up horribly. And now you're gonna have two egresses going up there.
That's my only worry about the kind of egress there.
And
The main-
people trying to turn into that subdivision, now that there are more subdivisions over there, stop, make left-hand turns, get nailed.
The main entrance has, control lights, right?
Yeah.
But this entrance doesn't for that small
Just-
athletic field. It doesn't have, so there's no stop signs, there's no control lights. That could be a concern.
There's two access points currently to the school, the main one, which would be the south of the two, and then there's a northern one, which is not controlled. So if this one gets added and connected, you have three, with the main central one being the controlled intersection. I mean, you could ideally, and they've adjusted the right, turn only at Templeton in the past. I mean, if you come out of here and it needs to go to be a right turn only, I mean, there's changes that can be made if needed, but as everyone's pointed out here, it's bad, but I think we've all probably seen other high schools where this isn't unique. I mean, when you have this much traffic coming at this short period of time, honestly, it's tough to have it be great, but this is gonna make it better, right?
Well, it's gonna be more parking place. I go up there for dance recitals. And it's jammed wherever you are, but 15 minutes later, it's empty. So it's just, there's more of a problem with people letting their little kids running around through the parking lot with no lights in between the cars. That's what the problem is, but that has nothing to do with that's before us today. I mean, it's a peak thing. You have an athletic event, yeah. So everybody's trying to get out or in at the same time, but it's over in 15 minutes. So they're more concerned, I can tell you, with traffic up there today than they were a year ago, and they'll take care of it. I'm confident of it.
So your main parking lots for the high school have lights in the parking lots? Are
That's
they lit?
correct.
What about this lot that you're proposing connecting? Will it have lights as well?
No, there's no improvements to the entrance off of the existing parking lot here, just the connection itself.
So there's no lights in this parking lot. It's normally used during the day, not at night, but now you're proposing to use it at night with no lights?
I think the use would be maintained for its current operations where lights are not warranted for the additional parking lot.
There's an evening event and you have overflow parking and people parking there and taking that walkway through the woods in the dark.
Into a dark parking lot.
Good.
Yeah, we will be cutting through the woods as needed for the path connection and the roadway.
Could have people.
That's correct.
When we say woods, though, I mean, it's a hedgerow between there's no impact to the contiguous chunk of woods, which is to the west of the athletic sports complex area. The there would be an impact to the hedgerow in between the sports complex field and the high school property. But it's like a tree line, if we will.
And the safety is addressed with the separate walking path. So the concern isn't walking, as far as vehicle issues with pedestrians walking in the dark as much as it would be once you get to the parking lot being dark and walking to the parking lot. It's not the walk to the parking lot or vehicle.
Yeah,
pedestrian.
we purposely put the path separate from the roadway to alleviate any pedestrian traffic as well as vehicle conflicts.
Is there, Orin, is there any requirement for, I mean, they're literally connecting the parking lots now, so this is an extension of the high school. Is there any requirements now that this is an extension of the high school that they require lighting in that parking lot?
They were going to propose lighting. It would have to meet our standards and, you know, we would want it to be full cutoff lighting that didn't create glare. And to be honest, if we were proposing lighting for this parking lot, which is up near the road, there would be a potential for residents on the other side of the street to take issue with that, which is why we would make sure that we had a photometric plan that showed that there'd be a 0, foot candle level at the property line, so that even though you'd be able to tell that the lights were on, but the glare wouldn't be shining your direction, whether that would mean, the positioning of the lights in a certain way or shields facing county line for those lights. So there would be standards that would come into play if they were going to propose lights for this parking lot. As it is, the parking lot exists and was approved without lights. So
Approved by,
Well, I think because the.
when the
Oh,
original
yeah.
sports,
athletic
when the
fields were
original sports
daytime
complex was
activities.
approved.
it was like a day parking. It was for sports, for soccer. There's no lights on the soccer field, so it was intended to be done during the day.
Well, I'm guessing that they max out the use of that sports complex and come up against, dusk if they can't, if their sporting events or anything like my kids, you try to go as long as you
They're
can.
leaving in the dark.
Yeah. So I wasn't the village planner at the time that this was developed, so I can't speak to the discussions that took place at that time.
Yeah, I think, well, I was on the board at that point, and maybe Sherry was not on, okay, so, Brian, I'm guessing it was just the two of us then. But, yes, to your point, if it was athletic fields, when the athletic fields were not lit, then the parking lot, would not have been in use, at that time. So we got one street lights right at the entrance there and nothing in the parking lot.
I guess, would they be open to adding lights in that parking lot with adding the access to connect the parking lots with the high school?
I can certainly take it back to the, to the school district. But that was not their intent with this project, was just mainly the traffic flow and the connection and possible for overflow parking only as required.
So is the plan to, so right now the students who buy parking passes, they might end up going to towards the Templeton as they sell out. Is the plan to sell parking passes in this lot as opposed to going that direction?
I don't believe that's the case. I believe it's strictly for overflows for events. It's not designated for student parking.
Right.
They got so many.
I mean, they have an event there. That's what I go there for our granddaughters stuff. I mean, you don't get a parking pass to park in a parking lot. You just get there early enough because the parking lot.
The kids that go to school.
That's why I
Yeah.
asked specifically if
Yeah.
students would be part, that would be part of student.
I'm sure
parking.
down the road.
And I was thinking not, but I was thinking that maybe it was because it does say during regular school hours. So I think that's probably why we were all thinking that.
Right, the intent was not to designate it as for schools. It's made for students, it's for overflow parking.
Okay.
That's why I asked, because if it was designated for student parking, especially in the fall and winter, you'd have students walking through that path and into that parking lot after dark or doing activities after school.
Safety, is on the forefront of everyone's mind with the district, at this point. So I think, Warren, how much did you give consideration to this and
I don't know. so we can-
Because it's an existing parking lot, that they're not proposing to really change, I didn't give any thought to lighting.
I don't know as if we couldn't require it. We can deny it, but we can't, I don't think we can require it.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, the parking lot that we're connecting to as well, the two parking lots, neither one of them have lighting. So if
No,
you-
There's some that, I think the closer you get to the actual
entrance,
school,
the closer you get to the school,
Yeah.
but so that lot that comes off of the entrance going to the south does not have any lighting for it either.
Yeah, there's some lighting
Oh,
on
there
there.
is.
So there's.
Not much lighting in any of their
Okay,
parking lots.
all right. But then there's nothing really through here though, from what it looks like.
I haven't been there a lot, but I think there's lighting there. Parking lot has to have lighting on it.
I think we should make this egress here a right turn home. Out of there. I made the mistake of driving by there when school's letting out, it's. Put a helmet on.
You might be home to breakfast for breakfast. Yep.
I mean,
Any
if you
other
did-
high
well, that's,
school.
is that something that we can do? Or is that a county requirement?
We should be able to stuff.
I mean, I guess I wouldn't, I think it would make a lot of sense during,
During certain hours.
right, I mean, but if someone's there for a sporting event, it's different than if someone's there during, when, after school lets out, that would be a concern. You wouldn't want, it would not be great to have people turning left out of their.
During typical hours and typical usage, there won't be that much additional traffic leaving that existing parking lot for the school facility. So you would not want to designate, in my opinion, that they can only turn right. For a typical weekend event for the kids soccer and so forth. You wouldn't want to designate that they can only turn right at all times out of that egress. So it'd have to be during certain hours, or I don't know how you would go about signing that.
It wouldn't happen. You
Right.
can put all the signs you want up, but soccer parents are the parents from hell. I know, I was one. I mean, they'll just do whatever they're going to do. All the signs in the world won't mean anything.
That's the point. I mean, that's very, I mean, we're talking very similar to what Casey's has there off of
Yeah.
Town Line Road and, some people would say that that's not ideal. I mean, and people, a lot of us probably have seen people turning other than what is designated on the signs there. So we get additional discussion or motion. I mean, so yeah, I think we would ideally like to see, or some people would like to see lights. Eric, can you give us a little more information on the leeway or how we could go about this?
Well, your code doesn't call out specifically what you're gonna look at in your site plan and plan of operation review. Other than some general things, it does refer to a photometric plan, but I think that's if they're gonna have lights, it doesn't say that you can require the lights. As to the right turn only, that typically would be the highway jurisdiction, making that determination. So it would be pretty unusual for us to take a position on that. I think we could, if you're so inclined, we could probably put a condition together saying if experience shows that there are traffic concerns or health and safety concerns regarding lighting, we reserve the right to revisit this and speak with them about solutions to those problems.
But we don't have any teeth to that request at that point in time. It
No,
depends on, I mean, we don't know
no.
how much usage it's gonna have at night, but maybe.
I mean, the other side of this is they're a public entity too, just like we are. And they're concerned about the health and safety of their students, more so than we are, I'm sure. And so, if the concern about lighting is protection of kids walking along that trail at night, they're gonna be more concerned about that than we are. Which is not to say we're not concerned. I'm sure some of us are concerned, but I would view it in that context. It is a little different, dealing with another public entity than it is dealing with just a ordinary commercial use.
Cause if they were thinking about lights, then we'd have to look at that plan.
Yes, we would need to
Then they're
see the
not
plan.
thinking About
Yeah.
lights, then.
Yeah, if they were gonna change it and add lights, they'd have to be back again. And, you know, they've got a monthly appointment, so that all works.
I think we just leave it lie as it is, and I agree with what is being said. They are very, very, very concerned. I'm dealing with it right now about health and safety of the population over there, and if there was a concern, they'll take care of it. And as far as stuff coming out onto Town Line Road, the county will tell them what to do, so if there's a problem with traffic coming out of there.
So at the very least, if we do approve this as presented, you'll you'll pass on to the, I mean, it used to be that we'd have some people from the school district at these meetings.
Yeah, Jeff was planning on making it, but he couldn't. He got tied up at school.
Well,
So,
All right, so and I know the
he'll be
last
here
time,
next month for the next one. so.
yeah, so I mean, you can pass on the.
Of course.
That this was discussed and that,
concerns,
I guess we have two
safety,
different
lighting.
concerns was not, is the lighting on the path and the lighting in the parking lot. And those, we don't need to say it specifically, but you know those two different concerns that those two would have. We appreciate that the path was separated from the road for the those safety reasons, but maybe it creates a separate issue slightly.
You could even put rocks between the road and the path too. For people that are on their phones. I'm good to go with this.
On their cycles.
All right, then are we ready for a motion? There's a recommended motion in the packet by Orin, if someone wishes to make that motion or a different motion, of course.
Make a motion to approve the site plan of operation amendment request. Oh, wait. Go ahead. For the Hamilton School District for the property located at W220 and 6151 Town Line Road in Lisbon, Wisconsin, subject to planners' comments and staff comments.
I'll second it.
Rob and Joe,
Yes.
thank you.
Any additional discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries 7-0.
Almost there.
We're ready for you. Item F is discussion and necessary action on the request of Paul Gordell and MJ Electric for the temporary site plan and plan of operations to locate a mobile office mobile office trailers and outdoor materials storage on the existing Land and Stone Products parcel located at N52 W23096 Lisbon Road with the Lisbon tax key number of 0289.999.007. Oren, you'd like to start us off again?
Yes, bear with me one moment. I'm gonna share my screen. I have the parcel up on the GIS.
While he's doing that, if you'd like to step up, you certainly can.
So this is a request from MJ Electric. They are the contractor working for American Transmission Company. And they are requesting again a temporary site plan of operation to locate mobile office trailers and construction materials for an outdoor storage in a laydown yard on the existing Land and Stone Products, Inc. Sussex Quarry. This would be the eastern parcel of the existing quarry operation. And access would be from Lisbon Road, County Trunk K. There's a separate driveway that probably receives limited use currently from the quarry. That would be the primary proposed driveway for this project. Again, the project is the construction of a new regional power line. So that's what this laydown yard is going to be for. It's going to be for materials and the equipment needed for that particular project, which corresponds to the requested time frame, which would be through December of 2027. So the types of things that are going to be occurring on site, there's going to be staff people that come here in the morning to congregate for a morning meeting, and then they will buddy up in company vehicles to go out to the job site locations for the day for the various construction activities as part of this line. And again, the line is in portions of Milwaukee, Washington, and Washington counties, so it covers a broad area. The reason that this site was chosen is that it is off of an arterial and in an area that they thought wouldn't bother adjacent residents. You know, out of sight, out of mind, if you will. So the proposal, if you look through the proposed hours, the number of people, so the peak number of employees would be 54 at any given time. Again, the peak hour would be during their morning meeting for about a half hour. The business hours that are being proposed are 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. Operating hours, potentially 24/7, but that would be by exception only. If for some reason, based on the conditions of work for their project, if they needed to be out to do something, or if they needed to go to the site, they would like the ability to access it. The background for the quarry is something that I cover in the overview of this. So Land and Stone previously received a conditional use approval from the town back in 2022. And I can say town because it was at that time without getting in trouble. That conditional use was later amended. So the approval at that time was for the planned quarry expansion lands that were in the town of Lisbon. And then after the incorporation effort and the boundary agreement between Sussex and Lisbon was approved, the CU was amended to include these specific parcels that were formerly in Sussex. So the controlling document for the quarry lands is this conditional use permit and the site plan and plan of operation that was approved at that time. The property owner, as part of this, is requesting to amend their site plan and plan of operation to allow this temporary site plan and plan of operation for this particular tenant. And they have a lease agreement for the areas for where their construction laydown yard will be. There's again, on the site plan, a map of where those areas will be, which is in your packet. They've got kind of two locations, a north yard of 7 acres and a west rail yard of 8 acres. So the things to point out, the access driveway does have a gate and would be locked when not in use. That's just the existing layout of that access driveway. The site would have a dumpster staging area. There would be a receiving mobile office and then a project modular office. And there'd be the area for material storage, kind of near those offices, and then another area for material storage on the north end, the north yard, if you will. The petitioner is proposing to have lighting for this area to provide safe conditions for them while they're in there. That would be something new, as there's not currently lighting in that area of the quarry. The condition related to that in Foth staff review states that Foth recommends the temporary site plan and plan of operation approval be conditioned on the submittal of a lighting plan identifying the location of the proposed wood streetlight poles for review and approval by the village planner prior to their installation, and a follow-up inspection of the installed wood streetlight poles and LED light fixtures by the village planner to ensure the light fixtures are angled appropriately to prevent glare. Again, I just want to go out after the fact to make sure that the way that these light fixtures are installed, that they're pointed down rather than angled up. When the fixture allows for it to be installed either way, and if they're angled up to cover a larger area, that's where there's a potential for glare. If they're angled down, there really shouldn't be any glare, and because this is down in the quarry itself, I don't know at what depth you're gonna be at, but
It's down a little bit, but there's a lot of barrier around.
there's
that
gonna be a
area.
significant, the wooded vegetated berm that exists will block the sight of this, from the general public. So, I believe, Paul, correct me if I'm wrong, but that you're in agreement to prepare that site plan and
Yep,
to
it's
have,
in
to have me
progress.
out for that
One of our suppliers
inspection?
is
Okay.
performing that right.
So that would be conditions 4 and 5 in both staff review that pertain to the lighting. I also want to point out that under condition 2, the existing site plan and plan of operation for the quarry would remain in effect except as further restricted or modified by this approval. And then what should be B, which is mislabeled A. So second A would be uses and activities. Use is limited to an approximately 15-acre temporary construction laydown yard for MJ Electric for mobile office, trailer, construction materials, outdoor storage associated with the ATC power line project. And then we list the docket number from January 1st, 2026 to December 31st, 2027. The site plan of operation approval would need to be consistent with the items that are in the packet that the Plan Commission has reviewed. And the biggest part of this is that because of that original CU, the Plan Commission needs to find that this amendment is minor and consistent with that original conditional use permit. And that recommendation needs to be forwarded to the board for their approval. So that's because this is in the quarry that has this existing CU, those two things need to be accomplished as part of this. So again, you as the Plan Commission have to find that this is a minor amendment to the quarry's site plan and plan of operation, and that it's consistent with their conditional use permit. And that portion needs to be approved by the board.
So Orin, for clarification, you're just saying that their recommendation of this being a minor amendment to their site plan and conditional use is the only thing that goes to the village board, not the actual site plan of operation?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
So for clarification, Orin, is this a amendment to the existing conditional use permit?
No, the conditional use allows for these minor amendments to proceed as site plan of operation amendments if you find them to be minor and consistent with the original conditional use permit. If the Plan Commission believes that it is not minor or not consistent with that original conditional use permit, then it would require a conditional use approval, a conditional use amendment, if you will.
So the original conditional use permit was to operate a quarry in this area,
Correct.
not to store heat material for an electrical project.
Well, I would say that the original approval includes the outdoor storage of equipment and materials, but it is equipment and materials for land and stone exclusively. So this would be allowing a temporary amendment to that to include MJ Electric's equipment and materials for this specific project.
I would also add that on one of the other land and stone parcels, Stark Pavement does operate completely on a land and stone parcel and have for years.
Yeah, that's actually the example that we looked at when we had our initial planner appointment.
Correct.
Was that this isn't unprecedented in the village as far as another user having approvals on a land and stone parcel or even a quarry parcel, as it were. So start pavement,
Correct.
yeah.
And
This has
The
an end
start
date.
one was, that was part of the conditional use permit, was that you could have that asphalt plant at that location.
An asphalt plant isn't allowed accessory use to a quarry in the Q1 district. But they are subject to their own site plan and plan of operation. And we do temporarily amend their site plan and plan of operation for them to have 24-hour operations during highway road projects
Correct.
where it's needed.
I'm assuming you're having a 2-year lease here. I mean, but are you confident that this is going to be done by December 31st of 2027?
Yes, our deadline is actually October, so it does give us a little bit of
Okay.
flex there too.
All right, all
Are
right.
you gonna be able to get out of there when they put the bridge in?
That's not until
I would love for
2040.
that to be done before this, but we're talking 5 years after that. I mean,
No.
we're not gonna get a bridge, but if we were to get
Yeah.
improvements there, it's gonna be after that.
We need to be done by
Yep.
end of 27. It will be done by end.
Yeah, the bridge won't be done by then.
But we need the power there before the end of 27.
Question. If you're storing materials there, how often will we be moving materials off of that site to the project site?
It's a regular rotating basis, so as we start different phases of it, so they're large steel structures. As we start different segments, it's kind of just an ongoing.
Daily?
That's what I meant to say.
Weekly?
this is what you meant.
The question relates to, because they're gonna be redoing, Highway K, and
Okay.
you're gonna be overlapping a year. That's supposed to start in
Finding the same.
2020. You
I-
have the potential of overlapping. a year.
No, wait, let's, I think there's miscommunication here. I mean, Dan, you,
Highway K is probably not gonna get started until 2031 to
It's-
2032.
I checked their project site and it said it was gonna start in 2027.
They're gonna be getting funding for that project for the next 5 years. So
So-
I think they're starting the letting process and going through all of that, but actually breaking ground.
That was my only concern, was it the
Sure.
projects? If that was
Yeah, because
gonna
we've
be-
got other projects we're also coordinating with the county on, and they're talking 2031 at the very
Because their
earliest.
website says 2027 is when it's gonna start.
so I think they're starting the project then, but they're not gonna physically start anything until years after that. I don't,
If they're overlapping, was there gonna be an issue with them moving their materials out if that road's under construction?
Sure.
Yeah, starting also probably includes design. Yeah, so there's gonna be, 30%. Yeah,
and it's not gonna move forward unless they get substantial federal funding, and that's,
I just saw the overlapping and I was just
Sure.
concerned with, for them being able to move their materials if that road was gonna be torn.
You got any stuff coming in by rail?
We'll have some wood timber mats come in by rail.
That's it. But you're not
By
gonna have
rail,
the steel
yes.
coming in by
Steel
rail.
comes all by truck.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
So, Orin, why would it not be easier and simpler and cleaner just to have them do their own conditional use permit? Why are we doing this amendment to their site plan?
I would say that the process allows for it to be done this way, the way that the CU was crafted. And so, that's how it's being proposed. And it is a path of lesser resistance in that if it's done this way, there's not as many steps in the process.
Conditional uses are usually recorded too, aren't they? So
Correct.
if this is just a
Yep.
temporary use, then do we want a temporary use to be permanently recorded on a conditional use? Or
Correct.
would then we have to go back and amend the conditional use once they're gone? So,
Or you terminate it?
but
If they have their own
That's-
but you don't
conditional
wanna-
use permit, you just terminate it.
you don't want to terminate it because they still have to operate a quarry. Yeah.
No, their own. It'd be a separate conditional use permit.
They don't own
For
the
their use.
property.
so I think the conditional use permit is tied to the property.
the
It's
property.
itself as opposed
They
to
don't own the
the
property.
use.
Yeah, but they're gonna lease it, right?
Yeah.
It's just like a cell tower. They lease the cell tower and then the cell tower comes in for a conditional use permit for that leased property.
This
So
is what we
Land and
do.
Stone's conditional use permit was drafted the way it was specifically to streamline projects like this. That was the reason that it was written that way.
Motion then?
So before you get to a motion, a couple of things. First of all, in the conditions, number one, I was just confirming with Orin, where it says subject to the village board. The full thought is subject to the village board finding this to be a minor amendment to the existing site plan and plan of operation. So I would suggest that full thought be stated there.
Thank you, Attorney.
And if we want to do it in one fell swoop, the motion that I would suggest is the Plan Commission recommends the village board find Land and Stone Products Inc.'s requested site plan and plan of operation amendment to be minor and consistent with the conditional use permit, and subject to the village board's approval, the Village of Lisbon Plan Commission approves this temporary site plan of operation request as presented, subject to the staff conditions.
I'll make a motion to Eric's effect.
Is there a second to that motion? All right, Rob made the motion, Sherry seconded.
Got it.
Is there any additional discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries 7-0. Almost done. Item 7, Orin planner report.
We've got another full slate of items for our meeting next month. We've got a additional use permit and site plan of operation amendment for Beautiful Blooms. We've got the follow-up to the Heinrichs project. So a certified survey map for that. We've got another certified survey map and rezoning for the Brocker property over off of Town Line. We've got a grading permit for a unique lot, let's just say,
The home build.
for a new home, yep. And a final plat for Homestead Ridge.
One thing I just wanted to update everyone on is I did hear back from everyone as far as the November, December meeting dates. So on the October agenda, we will have formal items so you guys can approve canceling the November and December meeting dates with a single substituted date of Wednesday, December 3rd. So that will be on the October agenda for approval.
The Christmas party is December 5th.
Yes.
All right. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All those in,
Who was the second?
Rob,
Thank you.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
Yeah, at 8:34.
Well, I didn't tell him where it's at, so.